read 11 books in September and October, and today we are going to yap about them.
Hi, hello. If you don't know me, I'm Aimee, and that is basically everything you need to know. We are going to rant about books today because I have some strong opinions about these ones. In these last 2 months, I've been quite adventurous because apart from my usual romantasy and rom-coms, I dabbled into horror and science fiction. I also found some gem thrillers I need to share with you. The first book is The 7-Year Sleep, which is actually not the first one because I'm picking them up in no particular order. I really loved this book. It was so sweet. This girl has to deal with grief after her aunt dies, and at the same time, she needs to learn how to move on and do what she really wants to do without focusing only on work, a thing a lot of people deal with. Timing is everything in this book because her aunt's apartment in which she lives now is magical and will transport you 7 years into the future or 7 years into the past. There is no rule. It just happens, and that is how she meets a certain guy. What I love about this is that there is no weird, cringy, smutty scenes. None of that. I really enjoy when romance books describe intimacy in a loving way, rather than being all explicit. This one really focused on love and passion, rather than how hard he pounds her, basically. I'd say this is maybe 1 chili pepper. That's so funny. 0.5 chili pepper for spice. When I started reading The 7-Year Sleep, I didn't know there was magic going on, and I was like, okay, I didn't expect that, not what I wanted. But as I was going through it, I was hooked, honestly. There are some really nice coincidences towards the end, and that is so exciting. With the writing style, I feel like this had the perfect balance with description and pace. It was a bit playful, like some rom-coms are. This is not. It is a rom-com. Yeah, it is. But I didn't laugh out loud or anything like that. I am very happy that this was not cringe. I wouldn't say this is my favorite book. I feel like when you find a favorite book, you sort of relate to it on a different level, which didn't happen in my case now. I think this was a 4-star for me, 4.5, but I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys would love to read this. I really like that the writing style, even though it is the usual really easy writing style you find with YA romance, it still has something, you know, a flavor. I really like this one. The next one I just couldn't find in any bookstore because for some reason horror books are not available in bookstores, whatever, and that is Brother, which it was a ride, all right? It was my very first horror book, actually. It was very graphic. Rape, murder, cannibalism, abuse. It basically had all of it. It's about this guy, Michael, who has a psychotic, cannibalistic family, which he doesn't relate to, but he adapts to it because he has to survive. Just for reference, he smashes the girl's head with a rock and his father says, "Good job, son." Then they eat the girl. So it is very deranged. The girls are skinned and gutted, I think that's the word. Very graphic, very vulgar. Especially his brother, Reb, he was vile. First thing, the ending is not what I expected at all. There were so many plot twists towards the end, like the last chapter. Honestly, we had 2 or 3 plot twists, so it is twisty. But even though I didn't want that ending, it was realistic. I wouldn't say it is fast-paced, but it isn't slow either. We have 2 point of views. We have the present time with the kids being adults, 17, 18, 20 years old, and the past in their childhood, where we get to understand what drove them to being literally insane in this moment. One of the things I really appreciated about Brother was the writing style. Dare I say, one of the best writing styles I've read up until now, given it is a horror book. It was just so vivid, and she used comparisons that are unexpected, which makes it a bit refreshing, even though you are reading about people getting murdered. It is refreshing, but I have realized that horror books cannot really scare you, not to the extent a movie can. Like, yeah, I am restless. Yeah, I'm on edge. I want to know what happens. I am a bit disturbed. But am I really afraid? Not really. Maybe if I were to read a ghost type horror book at night alone, maybe then I would be a bit scared, but I don't know. This book was definitely a 5-star for the type of book it is. For horror, given I haven't read any other horror books, I feel like this is a good one, honestly, just my opinion. But if I were to compare it to the other books I've read and other books that are within my comfort zone and genre, maybe a 3, maybe a 4, but it was a really good book, if that is what you're looking for. That's Not My Name. This was a surprising read, to say the least. It is a double point of view with the girl that gets kidnapped and her boyfriend that is suspected to have murdered her. This was a very anxious read for me. I was constantly feeling that we are running out of time, and physically I wasn't feeling really good, which is great because the book is good in that sense, but I don't know if I would pick this sort of book up too often given how I was feeling while I was reading it. If we are talking about the plot, the twist at the end, my flabber was gasted. I don't know if you expected or if anyone who read this book expected it or you will expect it. I didn't. I didn't even think that would be an option, honestly. So for that reason, 5-star, absolutely. Now the downside, the Gen Z talk. I feel like the Gen Z talk has no business being in a book, okay? And I will actually read this to you. Covered in blood? Check. Bruised to hell? Check. Wandering terrified in the middle of the night? Check. My heartbeat thumps like the Lizzo chorus, and I was like, what's this comparison? Are we talking about like Lizzo, the like singer right now? And yeah, we were. Oh hey, I guess I remember Lizzo. If all else fails, at least I like good music. And she says this because she has no memories right now, kind of amnesia. And then she continues to refer to her heart as my Lizzo heartbeat. At this point, I was pondering the option of putting the book down and banging my head on this very wall. I didn't do it, thankfully, and I ended up liking the book, but that beginning, that was really bad. Writing style was the usual snappy one you get with thrillers. I would say a bit too simple, but it didn't bother me in any way. I would say there were some things said just for the sake of it and emphasized too much. On the other hand, we had the cliche of adults not listening to kids even though it is absolutely obvious that they are right. That was kind of annoying, but again, for that twist, it was a really good book. Because at some point I just couldn't stop reading. I couldn't put the book down. I would say this is a 4.5 stars. Definitely recommend it if you're looking for a really anxious thriller. Norwegian Wood. I don't really know what to tell you about this apart from the fact that I've listened to 3/4 of it and I have yet to find something interesting happening in this book. It's about this Japanese student, Tori Watanabe, him, this weird girl, Naoko, another weird girl, Midori, and a 40-something-year-old that was supposedly abused by a 13-year-old, a woman that was supposedly abused by a 13-year-old girl, and that drove her insane. I don't know. Also, this 40-year-old woman makes sexual jokes with the two young adults, 20-something-year-olds, and it is insanely inappropriate, in my opinion. It was kind of slow, and when it came to the writing style, I didn't have any complaints. I was kind of indifferent towards it. It helped in the beginning, but nothing really happens. Really, that's the thing with this book, is just, you know, you are going on a ride with this guy and his life and his weird things and whatever. That's basically what happens. I really think this author just writes anything. Whatever pops into his mind, he's like, yeah, sure, we're gonna do that. And I'm not the biggest fan of that. It has this weird cold vibe. I would say it feels like a fever dream. It is a coming of age novel where we have themes of grief, loneliness. That truly shows in the book, but 3/4 into it and I can't help but feel like I've wasted my time. I will not attempt to read any other Haruki Murakami books because I gave Dance 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 a try a while ago and it was a resounding no. I got really bored. Also, all the girls in his books have this pick-me attitude. They're just pick-me's. I do not think that women act like that in real life. For everyone who loved this book, I'm not saying it's a bad book, but I am saying that this is not my type of book whatsoever. Because like my boyfriend, some people just enjoy the ride. A slow, calming sometimes ride with unexpected decisions and weird people. That's fine. But for me, this was, I don't know, a 1 star, probably. Unfortunately. The Naturals. Yes, 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 100 times yes. I should have listened to you guys when you recommended this book to me. You told me over and over again, Emma, you need to read this book, you need to read it. You know, I read it and you were right. I already ordered the rest of the books in the series and I have no complaint. Apart from the fact that the main character in the first chapters, whatever, she says to figure out what the Hello Kitty had happened that afternoon. I bursted out laughing. I feel like a 17-year-old can say what the heck. She can say what the fuck, honestly. But what the Hello Kitty, I would say that's not it. Apart from that, I really like this book. Maybe I would have liked a bit more description. Maybe. We have Cassie, a 17-year-old who is recruited by FBI to attend this special program for the Naturals. She is a natural that can profile people. Naturals are teenagers who can help in FBI investigations with their skills, because this girl can profile people really easily. Some other colleagues of her can detect really easily when someone is lying or be able to read emotions instantly. That sort of thing. And these teenagers help FBI solve murder cases and catch criminals. It is so fast-paced. I ran through it. I finished it in one sitting and let me tell you, oh my god, did the ending. It broke me. I didn't know what was going to happen. Who did it? Who didn't do it? Am I? Did I do it? I wasn't sure, okay? This played with my mind. It has a little bit of everything: romance, mystery, powers, strategy, suspense, some sort of training arc. And I feel this is a really good choice for someone who wants to jump into thrillers but loves romanticies. Because this sort of keeps the thing that I love in romanticies and just puts it in a thriller. It is my very first time reading a Jennifer Lynn Barnes book, and I feel like she might be one of my new favorite authors. It is definitely appropriate for younger readers. It feels a little bit simple in the writing style, but I loved it nonetheless. A bit graphic with the murders maybe, but no chili peppers with this one. We also have a bit of a love triangle, which was surprising, and for the first time I cannot choose which one I like more. A 5-star read for sure. Sabotage by Chantal Tessier. No, I'm actually actively begging you not to read this book. No, this is smut, like smut. It was not for me. We have this girl that has a really intense humiliation kink, and her stepbrother likes to satisfy her kink. Yeah. The very first chapter is a extremely explicit depiction of a kink. That's what it is. A very detailed scene, and I feel like that is enough of an explanation to understand my thoughts on this book. But if it is not, his stepbrother proceeds to film her during that scene and post her on social media. Then the video gets millions of views, and our girl gets just a little bit angry enough to suck his dick. excuse my language, but I'm trying to make you understand what you're getting yourself into if you want to read a Chantal Tessier book. Okay? What got me rolling my eyes was that this girl keeps on talking about how everything she's doing is so empowering as a woman. Yeah, no, thank you. No, thank you. I know smutty, dark romances can get like that sometimes, but for example, Hooked, this was a million times better. I'm going to talk more about this later in the video, but even though this is a very smutty dark romance, it's not like that. I couldn't read more than 100 pages, I think, because it was just sex, and I lost interest, and I didn't like the characters at all. Maybe a 0.5 star, I'm not really sure, but this type of dark romance, it is just not for me. If you like it, you do you, girl. I'm not whatever, you know? Safe to say I will not be touching another Chantal Tessier book in the future. The next one is Red Rising, and this was such a pleasant surprise for me. It is my first science fiction. I know some of you told me that this is not really a science fiction in the real sense of the word, especially the first book. It's close to a fantasy, or yeah, a fantasy more, but I feel like that helps me get into the story and ease into science fiction, because I really think I am also a science fiction girl. I really like this book, especially the first half. It got me hooked, girl. I was oh my god, what's happening for the first half of the book. In this world, the humanity is divided by colors. The golds lead the world while the reds slave underground mining, knowing that someday, due to their hard work, people will be able to live on the surface of Mars, because we are a Mars colony. Now the thing is, Darrow, I think, the main character finds out that that is all a lie, and that people are living on the surface of Mars, and they are thriving actually, while the Reds, his family, and a lot of other people are slaving their life away for nothing, living in filth. So he joins a rebellion trying to take the system down. Even talking about this, I realized, yes, this is my type of book. It's very intriguing. It was fast-paced, especially as I said in the beginning. We have spying, loads of politics, a little bit of romance here and there, not too much. It's not the point of the book, but it starts with love, and love is what drives him to start this journey. Now, somewhere in the middle, it starts to feel a little bit dragged out, because the last trial, we have Deadly Trials. The last trial is half of the book, and I do understand the reason behind that, because that's where all the character growth happens, and we understand how he navigates this whole thing. But I would have preferred maybe multiple different settings in which he learns all this. But I feel like that might be only me. So that part was a little bit boring at times. I kind of expected it to be over faster than it was. After that slightly boring section, the ending. The ending was so good, but at the same time so annoying, because he had to choose the bad option, the option that creates the most conflict, so that, you know, we have things happening in the second book, which is great, but I was annoyed. Good thing though, I already ordered the rest of the series, and I feel like the next book will be even better. I'd give this a 4 star, I think, for that part, because it was half of the book, and I kind of expected it to be more fast-paced there. But apart from that, definitely recommending this one for anyone who wants to get into a soft science fiction, I feel like. Kill for Me, Kill for You by Steve Kavanaugh. Well, this is another thriller, but a very different one from The Naturals. Completely different. The Naturals is YA, you know, I feel like you know the style of a YA. Well, this one is not. It's not that it's graphic, it's just like the vibe of it is not YA. A denser read, in my opinion. We have multiple paths of seemingly unrelated people, but at some point, these worlds collide. We have 2 main paths. One of it is these 2 women who bond over the loss of their daughters during a group therapy session. And after talking with each other, they decide to murder each other's daughter's killers. I think. Does that make any sense? I hope it does. And that's basically one part of the book, and the other part is this other woman who is terrorized by the thought of her attacker coming back after her, because she survived an attack. This doesn't have the usual short, snappy sentence. It is a longer write. It feels like the slow burn type of thing, if that would be with thrillers. I think it can be. The ending with this one was a little bit weird. It was interesting. You get half a closure. Like the one you really want to get punished gets punished, but then you don't really know, you don't get to understand why someone did what they did. And that is a bit annoying, but at the same time very realistic, because sometimes you don't know why someone decides to do really bad things. I don't want to get more into detail because I really want it to be a surprise for you if you decide to read this book. But I feel you get enough closure for you to not feel like you were betrayed. For me, this was a 3.5, 4-star read. It was just not my favorite type of book, but it was a really good one, and I 100% think that it can be a 5-star read for some people, for a lot of people out there. It's just not, some books, just you don't resonate with them to that extent, but still they are really good books. So this one was good. I got a short story at the end that includes some of the characters. I didn't really understand why that was there. I didn't feel like it brought anything. It didn't add to the story, but well. We are back to Hooked, and this was my first Emily McIntyre book, and yes, I didn't expect this to be as good as it was. For a dark romance lover, this is, I would recommend this. The cringe level is insane though. Describing the veins on his, not my thing. We had a lot of mentions of seeds and milking things that are not related to farming or, We just need to grab all of those and throw them. Those are not things that should be in a book, in my opinion. So the spice, really cringe. If we didn't have that, honestly, this would be really close to a 5-star read. The book is about Wendy, the daughter of a very wealthy man, and James, known as Hook, a deranged individual, I might say, kind of psychotic. We have tension, power struggles, and murder, and they are really attracted to one another. The plot was really good, and the plot twist at the end, really good as well. The spice took me out of the story. It is very spicy. I do have a reading vlog if you want to see to what extent the description and the explicit sexual scenes get. I have a reading vlog with it. I'd say 4.5 star for the plot, 1 star for the spice. I would recommend for anyone who has a very high tolerance for cringe and is into dark romance. The next one is Corrupt by Penelope Douglas, and this was not my first Penelope Douglas book. I've read Punk 57, and from what I remember, I read it a long time ago. I did enjoy it, though it wasn't memorable enough for me to remember much of it. I don't remember a lot, but I did enjoy it. Now, with this one, I'm gonna start by saying that in the beginning, I did enjoy the book quite a bit, but my interest really died down the further I got into the book. It is a double point of view. We have the present and the past, and while you read, you uncover the past and then you understand what's going on in the present. I don't really like that in this book. I feel like I was constantly waiting to understand what's going on. Maybe a little bit slow at times, but that was not the issue. We have cringy dialogue and some very questionable sentences being written that are borderline in my opinion, especially Damon. It was very hard for me to not be disgusted by Damon at times, and it really got to me while I was reading. I do not mind the blurred lines in books because I know dark romance does that all the time, but with Damon, I just couldn't help but really be judgy. This is about Erica and Michael. They are attracted to one another quite a bit, but Erica messed with Michael's friends that are now looking for revenge, and they just torment the girl. How many? I think all 5 of them, including Michael, torment this girl. Damon is one of the friends, just so you know what I was talking about. I guess they do torment her, but she kind of likes it at times. Basically, all 5 of them want to bang her, but Michael wanted the most. In the end, she does have a threesome, mostly out of pity, I think. But once that started happening, the book lost me. It completely lost me. I really don't mind the dark vibe. I can get over some blurred lines when it comes to dark romance. I know that's how a dark romance is supposed to be. I was actually giggly a few times with this one. I did like a few parts, but I couldn't get over how much I disliked the characters. I feel like they were flat, all of them. I didn't like any. With Hooked, I feel like the characters, they weren't insanely deep, but they were much more well-rounded than with Corrupt. Now, I don't know, people say which one? Kill Switch is the best. At this point, I'm not really happy with the fact that I bought the first 3 books in the series. I am not planning on reading them, but who knows? Maybe sometime I will be like, oh, you know what? I'm like, let's give it a second try. I do feel like this can be a fun read. The writing style, apart from sometimes being a bit slow, it was engaging most times. But I think this is a 2-star read for me. Yeah, most likely. Also, the book is like really this specific edition, it just, you know, it literally falls apart. Though it's very floppy, which I like. And finally, the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, which you guys kept on asking me, hey, how do you feel about this book? And let me tell you, this was one boring book. The first 2 chapters, maybe 3 chapters, I was enjoying myself. I was like, okay, this is a small town romance, sweet, really funny, and I really like that the MMC at first reminded me of my boyfriend because he's always grumpy as well, so it felt close to home, right? It was not. I made it to chapter 15 until I said, you know, I don't really care what happens to these characters. It's just a small town romance where Ginny takes over her aunt's cafe in this small town after realizing that her life is not what she wants. And there she meets Logan, this very hot farmer. That's what I gathered. It is not really funny. I don't think it is. It is just I don't feel it. It's not a rom-com in my opinion. It is just a romance and not much happened. It's basically insta love. They see each other and they are instantly in love. The characters are also flat with this one. Ginny is the messy girl who wants to change her life. I feel like, I don't know, it feels flat. And Logan is the apparently grumpy guy, but secretly he is head over heels in love with her. I don't feel like those things are bad because Ellie Hazelwood books are mostly like that, all of them. And I do love it there. Regarding the writing style, because I was comparing it to Ellie Hazelwood, I'll do that again. This is quirky. Ellie Hazelwood books are way quirkier and cheesier, right? But I like it there. I can enjoy it. Here it was, you know, okay, we're doing that. That's fine. Everyone said this was very cringe. I cannot say it was cringe up until chapter 15, apart from the, you know, a bit quirkiness. It wasn't insanely cringe, though. I am going to say that because I knew this was kind of spicy. I jumped to chapter 26 and 31 so I can give you an honest opinion and tell you if this is really weird spicy, you know? And yeah, it is very weird spicy. His tongue was fast and firm and just freaking perfect. It is descriptive for sure. When it comes to spice scenes, if it is too explicit and too detailed in the sense of what is actually happening, I feel like it takes all the love and passion out of it. Well, for me, when I'm reading it, I can't get an honest hold of what they're feeling when all I read about is how long his shaft is and how well he uses his tongue. I'm sorry, I really am. I don't want to be vulgar, but I just want you to understand. Very descriptive, very explicit. We know exactly what everyone is doing. What I'm saying is, for me, personally, I do not like this type of spice. I like intimate type of spice where I am imagining what's going on while you, the author, the narrator, conveys the feelings towards me with just a few details. The 7-Year Slip did that really well. But this doesn't make or break a book because I really like Ellie Hazelwood books, and her books, they are very spicy. You get 2 to maybe 4 sometimes chapters where you get very descriptive sex scenes. They are not my favorite. Right? You can skip them and the book wouldn't be any different because those are not the parts that make me giggly. The rest of the book was so nice that I could get over not liking that. I don't know if I would have finished the book, I think that I would waste my time. It is not for me. Maybe 2 stars for this one, just because I felt like it was very boring. I'm pretty sure some people would just feel like, this is just a cozy romance, a cozy fall romance. What did you expect? And that's fine. I do understand where you're coming from. I just need a different writing style, a bit of things happening. I don't know. This reminds me of Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver, but I'd say that one was a bit more intriguing because I did finish it, but still the same thing. Small town. Yes, things are happening, but at the same time, it feels like nothing. It happens. I'm not, with Wild Eyes, insanely descriptive sex scenes. No, I didn't like that. But that one, I feel like it was better, but I will not be reading the rest of the series with, after or before Wild Eyes. Yeah, this was the last book. Now, 11 books in 2 months might not seem like a lot, but I somehow felt like I read continuously in these 2 months. Also, if anyone is wondering why did I count the DNF'd books, I really believe that if I wasted hours of my life getting to half of a book and I decided enough is enough, I still believe that the least the book can do is count towards my yearly goal of reading. That's my take. If you disagree with that, I completely respect your opinion, but I will stick to mine. Now, I've been talking for quite some time now, and I am sick of hearing my voice. Also, my throat is really scratchy. So this is the video. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Since you reached the very end of this video, at this point, you might as well just like and subscribe. Just saying. All right, see you next week. Bye.